Hi, I'm Frank Rohwer, President and Chief Scientist for Delta Waterfowl, and I'm here to give you the January migration report for Delta. I'm here at Whitehall Plantation, which is right adjacent to Catahoula Lake, famous wetland in the middle of Louisiana. But we're going to talk about migration throughout the country. Now let's hear from Jeff Adams. Jeff is the Regional Director for the Pacific Flyway, and he's going to cover the migration report for that area.
Hunters in California continue to experience tough times for ducks. The ducks that they do have are very decoy shy, and so hunters have turned largely to hunting geese. In California, speck and snow numbers are great, and so we wish them the very best in the coming months as they continue to hope for new birds to come down from the north. Throughout the rest of the Pacific Flyway, we're under winter conditions for the most part, but it is still a much warmer winter than we normally experience. Hunters are still having success with ducks, but are having to work a bit harder for it. Goose numbers are good throughout the Mountain West, and so hunters are focusing largely on geese as well in this area.
All right, Chris Williams, the Regional Director for the Southern Atlantic, is going to cover that region and talk about migration out east.
Good afternoon and welcome from the great state of North Carolina, where many of us are coming off of a big push of birds and a great cold spell that many of us will never forget. We found ice in places we didn't know ice existed. Over the last 14 days, we've really seen a good push of birds from the New England states down south. A lot of Atlantic Flyway hunters always wait for that as a key indicator to when the birds will come south and when to expect to have those good shoots we all look forward to during the season. The diver ducks are here. Last week we had a big snowstorm that really blanketed the mid-Atlantic and caused some ice on the back end that people truly have taken advantage of, where you could find open water. You had the Chesapeake freezing up, the Chesapeake Bay, the Potomac River, parts of the Pamlico Sound, and points south that froze up at the end of last week and on into the weekend. But if you could find open water, many were having some great shoots.
All right, we're going to transition over to John Davis, Vice President of Development. John's going to talk about North Texas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas.
So in Arkansas, Oklahoma, and North Texas, we finally got some water on the landscape, enough to hold birds in the area, followed by a heavy freeze which locked up much of the water. Now that the water has thawed, though, we've had many limits of birds throughout Oklahoma, Arkansas, and North Texas, and looking forward to the front coming tonight to hopefully push the rest of the birds down from Missouri, Kansas.
All right, next we're going to hear from Cooper Huff. Cooper's in the Mississippi Flyway in Arkansas and Mississippi, and he's going to talk about the migration for those two important states.
All right, guys, things are really looking up here in the southern Mississippi Flyway. I know everybody's been frozen for probably the past 5 to 7 days, but that has started to thaw now with this rain that we've had. Talked to guys on the Mississippi and the Arkansas side of things, really seeing some pretty good bit of migrators finally down here, hearing good reports from WMAs on both sides of the river of what's going on. So feel confident we're fixing to finish the season strong, have a good push of ducks headed down this direction. So y'all get out there and get after them.
Now we're going to hear from Garrett Trentham. Garrett is the Regional Director for Kansas and Missouri. He's going to talk about the migration patterns in those two states.
Hey guys, I'm here with a migration update from southern Missouri. I'm actually up in central Missouri today, and as you can see, we are still locked up tight. It's pretty rare that I've got ice thick enough for me to stand on, and this stuff here looks to be about 8 to 10 inches, so it'll be a while before it thaws. But down in southeast Missouri, the ice is starting to open back up with this little bit of warm weather we've got. Guys that have been running ice eaters have big holes. There's been a little bit of a reverse migration coming back with it. It should get really good. So if you can find open water, get out in the marsh. We got ducks coming back up from Arkansas.
So here in Louisiana, the results are real variable. The state just flew the surveys, and an awful lot of hunters are kind of disappointed, as is the state biologist, Larry Reynolds. We thought that there was going to be an incredible influx with that bitter cold weather that swept across the country and froze up the north. But honestly, it just didn't happen. The counts are a little below average, actually. So there are a lot of frustrated hunters down here that were expecting their straps to be filled with ducks, and it hasn't been happening real reliably. And with that, I'd like to wrap up this report. You've heard from a variety of different folks, and so that's what we're seeing across the country.